Alright, so we're going to work a snap down. First I'll just show it to you. So this is my basic snap down here for wrestling. So that's really the simple snap down. But in order to do that, there's really three things that I'm doing. One is I'm snapping hard, right? So I'm heavy hands on my opponent, right? But that's not enough. So I'm going to snap just as hard every time I do this, right? So when I snap hard, I'm not really getting a great snap on my opponent. But when I add a level change, I got his hand to the mat. And when I add hard snap and a level change, and I take a couple of steps backward, when I do all three of those things, I'm able to really get my opponent all the way down to the mat. Now, obviously, against a good wrestler, he's not just going to do that when he's wrestling live. But when I put those three things together, heavy hands, level change down, and backward stepping, a couple of steps backward, I'm going to get a lot more effective snap on my opponent. So, let's go over here. Second thing is where I'm snapping. So I really, if I can, want to get a hand on the head and a hand in the armpit. That's ideal. I can snap from other places, but this is going to be ideal. However, I like not to just go in, grab a collar tie, and snap down. But instead, I'll usually snap from inside ties where I'm blocking in the shoulders. And I'm looking to push and get him to lean. So when he starts leaning back into me, that's when I'm going to snap. And so from here, I get a little pop on the back of the head because I'm not actually on his head, I'm on his shoulder. And when he starts leaning, I'm able to get a really good hard pop on the back of the head and in the armpit. So again, I don't like to just grab the head and snap from there, but instead snap from somewhere else. So another thing that I can do is, I can snap from a lot of different positions. You can try maybe snapping from an underhook over the shoulder and the head. I can try snapping down from an elbow and a head. I can try snapping down from a wrist and a head. So you can play around with different positions and try and snap from different positions, which brings up another snap that I like to use a lot. I call it a hand snap. So anytime I get a guy leaning where he's posting on my shoulders, I'm going to do that same thing. Heavy hand snap, level change, and a back step, but this time I'm snapping at the wrist. Right? And if I get him really leaning, I'm pushing, I'm able to get a really good reaction out of him. So it's a simple way to clear anytime I feel a post. Maybe it's just one, boom, right? And even though that doesn't look like much, the fact that I'm getting my opponent to step is going to be really effective at setting up a shot. Sometimes on a hand snap, I'll actually get a guy to go all the way to the mat, but most of the time I'm not getting that. But what I am getting is a heavy step out of my opponent, which allows me, if I time that right, to set up a shot. So hand snaps can be really effective. I can also use these leaning hard, a hand snap right into a head snap, which again puts me in that front headlock position that I want to be in. I think the last thing to show is what I would call a short snap. So this time I'm really not snapping hard. This is more about kind of being sneaky, right? So if we're hand fighting in here, and if I can get my opponent leaning his head close enough, all I'm looking to do is this time I'll go with my forearm. So I like to have my right hand on the chin. So I'm just getting my forearm, my left arm on the back of the head, and catching him right here. And from here, I've got this hand on the chin strap. I've got my chest over the top. And from here, I can work all sorts of front headlock stuff from the feet, or I can bring him down to the mat. And so again, what this looks like at full speed is we'll just be pummeling, and I'll just catch him. Just catch him. So it's not as hard of a snap. I'm not really worried too much about footwork. I'm just reaching up, grabbing, and pulling him in. For anybody that played football or watches football, a lot like a running back taking the ball out of the quarterback's hands. That's what that looks like.